'cause I love you. Need to got the updates. Brian's got it all. Sir Mars with the giggles. Watch the numbers crawl. Insert title here. Oh, what a show. Brian Blues is talking. Johnny says, woo! Mod Pro, Doom, Sparky in the know. Don't miss a moment. Every topic's hot. From gaming to gadgets, they cover the lot. Johnny leads discussions. Brian's interrupting spot on. Laughter never gone. Insert title here.
And speaking of interrupting,
Hey, I just caught that. I was like, oh, that's funny.
yeah,
Where'd that come from?
AI. I had AI make us a theme song.
Excellent.
It gets more British and more off the rails the longer it goes.
Well, that's
But,
cool.
Yeah,
British is good.
yeah. At some point, his voice starts getting the British inflection.
Chaos, they bring the light. Johnny's fixing tech all day and night. Brian Blues at the beach. Party's going strong, but together they make a show where we all belong. Insert title here. Oh, what a show. Johnny Gates is talking. Brian says, whoa!
It didn't default to British. It's just as I added more lines to the song, it got more British.
Feline surprise.
Feline
Cat
surprise.
sneaks and stealthy. Mischief in its eyes. Brian Blues struggling. Green screen's too dark. But they laugh it off, making their mark. Insert title here.
The mock.
Oh, what a show. Johnny Gate is talking. Sir Mars, whoa.
Whoa! Let's see which line's this.
Johnny in his chair, laid back with a sigh. Brian Blues reminiscing. Coding days gone by. Sir Mars with a pun. Laughter starts to fly. As they share their stories, time just slips on by. Insert title here. Oh, what a show. Johnny Gate is lounging. Brian says, whoa!
And then this is where I edit the fiddle solo. So anyways, we're here. I'm here. Ryan's here.
Well, yeah.
And I don't have my
Mars
soundboard.
is not here.
Mars is not here. I think Mars is still traveling or not, or I don't know. He's...
Or he forgot.
He mentioned... No, he said he was going to be out 2 weeks, and this is week 2. But then he also referenced flying southwest, so he's not as stranded as the rest of the world is.
Yes, that's
But-
right. He did.
But if he already flew, then does he fly to a different destination on his way home, or is he home, or I don't know.
Or he's in there now. No.
I don't know. Well, I sent him a link just in case he was somewhere he could click on. But anyways, yes, we are tuned into,
Insert title here.
and I think we'll just go ahead and fade out.
Hey, Sparky,
I made that song
hey, Dune, hey, Warhawk. Who did I miss?
I missed Warhawk in the theme song. I also missed OX64 in the theme song.
Now, can you go into a rendering, whatever you want to call it, and modify it? Have it do some more?
Well, I deleted all the earlier versions, so but I could pick a segment and say keep this, expand off of that, and make it about this. There's
I mean, after all, unless I missed it, there has to be a Sir Mars related to coffee. Right?
I didn't put anything about coffee, but I put the story about the time the cat snuck into his apartment. So that.
Oh yeah. Okay, all right.
I'm not
cool.
changing it now.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. We actually would run this for a while, and then kind of make notes on what we would want to add. And then so you get sick of this one, you try again later.
We'll see.
Whatever. That's fine.
So anyways, I was trolling the internets like I do. I was browsing the Facebooks like I do, and I see that I had 10 alerts or something, and of course Tab Patterson shared something funny. It was a picture with the caption, "I'm not going to say a word when I win the lottery, but there will be signs." And it's a picture of a brick building in the shape of a trailer. So yeah, that would be a sign. But then I get those alerts that are like, hey, here's a memory that you might want to share, and let's see if it's showing me what it is anymore. It might have just it's not showing it to me now, but it was from 14 years ago, July 22nd, 2010. I made a post to Facebook, and the post was something to the effect of, wow, there's so much less drama once I leave the NHB talk list. And that had me curious, what the hell happened in July of 2010 that caused me to leave the NHB talk list? Well, I don't know exactly what happened.
That was 2010?
Yeah. July 22nd, 2010.
Wait,
I
is this the anniversary of it? Holy shit.
It's the anniversary of me posting to Facebook that I had unsubscribed from the NHB email talk list.
Gotcha.
That's not a very big.
I remember where you were.
We don't need to celebrate that one. That's not all anniversaries are worthy of cake.
Exactly.
But so I'm like, well, what the heck happened in July of 2010? Now, 2010 was a stressful. There were a lot of stressful years. And so, like I normally do, I go to the archives and I find the show closest to the date to see what I was saying. And I found that I did a show on July 24th. So that would be 2 days after my announcing to the world, well, I left the talk list to get away from the fucking drama. And it was like a 6-hour long show. Actually, no, 5-hour long show. And at some point towards the end of the show, or towards, not the end of the show, towards the, past the halfway point, somewhere between 3 and 4 hours.
Well into the show. Well into the show, I had this explosive moment. Let's see.
And Venison was around back then, too.
I've had it. Loopy cannot take a hint. Loopy, just plain and simple, cannot take a hint.
Now, yeah, that happened, and then it went into a angry shouting rage, and I'm going to, I don't believe Loopy's with us anymore, so I have nothing but nice things to say about her. That's not true. I have many nice things I could say about Loopy and have said about Loopy, and I hold no grudges against her. It's more along the lines of, though, that 14 years ago, Loopy was pissing me off and making me angry. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter. I'm not saying whose fault it was or not, and there's no need to go into that. But that's... So well, what was happening is that Loopy was not liking the way I was doing my show or carrying my show or whatever. And so she'd write into the messengers and tell me that. And, A, I'm doing my show. B, she's not management. It's not really any of her business. If she has an issue, she could take it up with me privately or take it up with management.
What was some of the hints on what she didn't like?
Well, for one thing, there was a period of time where Zoe and Damon came to an agreement that I could simulcast my show on both of their streams, and I could play breaks of both networks during the breaks. Which would be cross promotion.
NHB, and who's Zoe with?
Zoe was Wild Bunch Radio.
Oh, okay. Now, is he, shall we say, a principal of that platform, or not really?
Well. Forge and Loopy were they had history with Wild Bunch Radio. They spent many years running it, and then they came to NHB. They've had history with many streams, like many of us do. But NHB had a history of being anti-cross promotion, and generally it was unusual to let a show simulcast on multiple streams. It usually didn't happen, and certainly Damon was against promoting other stream. There are competitors. We're competing against them. We could be friendly with them, but why would we promote them? Why would we send listeners over there? We promote our stuff here. They promote their stuff there. So actually, for a while, I had my computer.
It's like ABC and NBC in competition, right?
Right.
Except the fact that these radio streamers are not making a dime.
But even so, people that have shows on NBC will go onto a late night talk show on ABC as a guest and promote their show that's over on NBC. So it's not like there's
it's usually a zero. It's a soft promotion usually.
Right. It's plugging during a show. It's not a commercial, but it's still like there is some, well,
in fact, lately Colbert literally brings a guest on and see what the guy wants to plug. It's usually a book. It's usually a book, which is not really competition.
There's
or it could be a movie. But
so
and then sometimes it's too early for the guy to even say anything about the movie.
So for a while, I actually had to set up my rig to, during breaks, send out 2 different audio streams. Set out one set of breaks to Wild Bunch Radio with Wild Bunch promos, and set out one set of breaks to NHB with NHB promos. And I would prepare the breaks ahead of time to make them time out even, so I could hit the button to split the audio out to 2 different streams, hit the 2 play buttons, go pee. This is back when I did breaks even. I mean, this is not an issue now because there's no breaks and there's no promos. There's also no NHB. And I think that's the epiphany I reached today is I really don't care that there's no NHB anymore.
When did we stop simulcasting from this to NHB? I thought we were always sending to NHB.
Well, the server took a shit like months ago.
Oh, okay. And then we just kind of quietly went away. Yes, don't dial into NHB because they're not there anymore.
Well, the thing is that even when it was there, let's face it, our listeners are primarily coming through Twitch and YouTube. NHB was just kind of,
Sure.
And Dune could care about it. I'm going to talk more about my feelings here, and I'm still kind of processing these feelings because it was kind of an epiphany that it's like, here's the thing. I realized multiple times when some kind of a date comes up and I pull up emails and audio from that time period to review it, it makes me feel angry again. And
you need to finalize processing of that.
Well, I'm trying to.
It might have been Sparky that said the whole purpose of sleep is that your brain gets to defrag. You got to get to defrag.
All right. But also, if you pause the defrag while the defrag's trying to happen multiple times, it takes longer to.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Now that sentence right there alone. Keep in mind, don't take any of these things as the thing. But oftentimes when I look back at NHB, I end up feeling angry. Oftentimes when I look back at NHB, I feel happy and I feel reminiscing. There's both of that, and it's been kind of a complicated thing. And I think, so I kind of had this epiphany that, you know what, I'm kind of glad that that's in the past. Mind you, I had a great time being a part of that group when Damon, Liam, Forge, Loopy, and producer Bill, Lisa, all those people, Addie, Gabe, Trey Dog, Neighbor Dyke. Can I say that still? Okay. I had great times with those people.
That name does not ring a bell.
No, well, she was a neighbor. She lived above or below Sloan and would sometimes be on the show with him.
Okay.
So I was starting
as Neighbor Dyke.
Well, the joke is that I'm starting to reach for less significant co-hosts there as the list goes on because I'm struggling.
And
to
then
think
you
of
got to
more
me,
days.
which is the lowest common possible.
Well, you're still
denominator.
here.
Well, yeah, I know it. Can you believe it? I can't.
So I was glad to have
And
been
neither
able to,
can Warhawk.
I was glad to have been a part of it, but I'm also glad I'm not anymore. Like I don't need to be in the middle.
But yeah, of something that doesn't exist.
Right.
Right. There's no message boards or anything in it.
Right. I'm kind of I'm like, wow, isn't it nice that I don't have that shit to deal with on a daily basis.
Hey, was
in
there
my life
ever
anymore.
was there ever an NHB Yahoo group?
No, we had our own forums on the website.
Oh, I know. That was just joking because that's gone too.
Yeah. But no, so like I guess that was my epiphany that it's like, oh, I don't have to deal with that shit anymore. And I
Amen.
And I think that there were parts of that may fall under the term toxic. And that's so I think I came up with a good analogy while I was taking a shit before I was getting ready to do the show, because that's where some of my best thinking is done. It's kind of like someone looking back at a first marriage that didn't last but wasn't necessarily all bad. Like they might still look back at that with some fond memories, but they're also glad it's over. So I guess that's what I'm realizing today. That's my relationship with the NHB radio of the past. That when I look back at those days, yes, I could have nostalgia. Yes, I could talk about a lot of great times, but I hold a lot of anger when I start looking in those back things, and it's like, oh God. I mean, but getting back to the issue, Loopy. So at some point I was doing the double breaks, and it was a lot of work, as Dune pointed out in the chat. And so at some point I just didn't have the time to do it anymore. And Zoe always said, you can play promos from both as long as you play promos from both. I don't come on here and play only NHB promos, but if you play promos from both, I'm fine with that. But Damon was always no. But at some point I talked to David. I'm like, look, this is killing me, coming up with 2 promo breaks and splitting it. Could I just do one large break? And Damon said, yeah, fine. Okay. So I had his blessing. But then one day Loopy comes back late from night I think she was having a rough day. So let me give her, some leeway for that.
Well, I mean, who doesn't get into a show after a bad day at work and take it to the show?
Well, she wasn't doing a show though. She was listening to my show.
But contributing from that negativity.
Well, no one asked her to contribute.
Who asks who? Hey, Sparky, did we ever ask you to contribute? Actually, we did. We did. Warhawks, you too. Thanks for contributing, even though we didn't ask.
No, so I was doing my show and I was doing my thing, and Loopy, I think Loopy and Forge came back from some late night visit at a hospital. So they, and I guess they decided let's throw on the stream and relax a bit. And it was on a Saturday night when I'm doing my, and it's late in the Saturday night. So it's a very...
Yes, Sparky, that's because we're fucking desperate.
It was a very drunk Gators.
Yeah. Well, that's bad.
And well, the thing is, I wasn't an angry drunk Gators at that point. I was doing my thing, but I said something that offended Loopy, which is ridiculous. It still baffles me to look back at this because we were fucking no holds barred. It was the name of the network.
Well, exactly.
So
and she was part of that.
So I don't understand why she suddenly felt like it was her place to write into my show and tell me that I shouldn't say the things I was saying or do the things I was doing.
Yeah.
So, so I basically said as much as to hey, fuck off. Now, mind you, I'd had to dig the shows before this show that I pulled up where this happened, and I don't care to do so. I'm going off of memory here, and memories.
That was 14 years ago.
Yeah,
right.
But it reached the point that I basically had decided I just wanted to be left alone as far as things. Like she pissed me off enough that I'm like, dude, you go there, I go here. and that's that.
Sure.
And that's not in Loopy's personality.
Right.
So it didn't quite go down that way. Eventually it did. Eventually, in fact, I think this is the group of the events that escalated to the point of Rico firing me and claiming I quit. And Damon not backing me up because he had no spine. And so then I was only on Wild Bunch. So it was like, well, fuck you guys. I've got Wild Bunch. And then Loopy started complaining to Zoe that I was trying to start a station war. And it's like, my God, woman, do you have a fucking life of your own?
Well, if you're on Wild Bunch bitching about NHB, blah, 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 that would probably be inappropriate. Hey, you go to a new network, you say, hey, I'm on a new network, right?
Well, when I go to mind you, it's not that I went to a new network. It's that I was streaming on the same network I had been streaming on forever. It's just that I wasn't streaming on two. I was only streaming on the one. And when I do my show, I talk about what's on my mind. I talk about what I'm thinking about. I talk about what's relevant to me. And at that point in time, what was relevant to me was the stuff I was angry about at NHB. So I wasn't talking about a Wild Bunch of doing interstation war.
Think about it.
I was talking about it because that's what was on my mind to talk about on my show.
Think about it, though. People could take it that way.
And they're welcome to,
Well, then you're going to have to take their criticism.
I really didn't fucking leak. Loopy could take any fucking thing any way she wanted to.
Sure.
But it's one thing to take things. It's another thing to try to get people like fired from other state. Like, you shouldn't be allowed to do your hobby because I don't like the things you're saying. Like, get real. But ultimately,
of course. But then again, it's no holds barred, right?
Right. Well, it was Wild Punch because no holds barred.
Yeah, but she was still NHB.
There was one hold barred, and that was Gators. We can't be having that. But I don't. And so ultimately, Zoe said to me, "Look, whatever. I don't care. Just try." Maybe you could try to not name NHB by name when you talk or reference the things that are going on, But
that's a good line.
I really don't
Warhawk.
care. When he had beef in his teeth, yeah, that was my
the drunken part, and then the beef. That's good.
Yeah, that was
good.
the blender bit.
And that's a good line too, Sparky. Gators has the bars.
Gators holds the bars.
Oh shoot. I'm gonna start a new network, right? Gators holds the bars.
Now Sparky writes in a pretty good thing here, and this is, mind you, I'm still processing. I still process this at times, but then again, I don't need to. It's not like I have PTSD over being on NHB. It's not like I have nightmares about it, so I don't really need to process it. But I reflect at times. But Sparky writes in, well, if it still angers you, then your views, opinions have not changed. That is not a bad thing. You know what, Sparky? I like that. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Dune writes in, I don't recall having all that drama. # Dune don't care. Leave him out of it.
Right on, Dune.
Dune just stayed the fuck out of it all. But
I mean, to me, the drama was nonsense. But
then
again, I was with other people on. Well, I wasn't at that time. It was a little later. On following some people on YouTube, and it's just like, holy shit! There's all of this drama. There's no need for all this drama.
Well, now
it was bizarre.
There are some people who will probably be of the mindset that Gators was the cause of most of the drama, and I disagree with that, but I understand that point.
I'm with you on that. Drama takes more than one person. Period.
Exactly.
Period. Yeah.
Here's the thing, because I don't think I ever started the drama, but I also didn't.
Well, but drama can start with, you could say something, a person takes it wrong, and then suddenly it's drama.
Well, then,
is it that person's that was offended, or your because you said something that someone took wrong?
Good point.
Right.
Good point. But let's not analyze that.
Oh, I understand that.
But
we are here to analyze that, right?
It is debatable where the drama started. But from my point of view, I usually didn't start the drama, but I also never tried to avoid it because
it was fun.
It was not fun. It was
Sure.
not fun.
Sure.
I wanted to do my show on the network that I started the show on with the people that I was, doing this network thing with. And like Damon, I liked the network when it was good, so I cared about this thing. So I kind of believed in Damon's vision for NHB.
Well, how many telethons did you partake in?
Too many. But
many, right? Because you believed in it.
Because I believed in it,
and then the shit just wasn't working out, so those kind of went away.
But the problem is that there were too many cooks, and everyone had their own it's kind of funny.
Too many cooks or too many chiefs.
That too.
Yeah,
all of it. The problem was everyone really had their own opinion on how this should run. And generally the networks that did better were the networks that really had the attitude of, we share resources, you connect, you do your show, you disconnect, you don't owe us anything. But Damon was never of that mindset. His mindset was, if you're just here for the resources and do a show, then you're in the wrong place and you can get out. And that's what a lot of people did. But
I mean, that was a little short-sighted. I mean, yes, you need people to contribute so the thing can be run. I mean, after all, he doesn't. Well, the guy's not independently wealthy,
right?
So he's not going to throw the money all up. And I'm sure Rico's the same situation.
Well,
he volunteered to run the server, right?
Right. Well, the thing is, Damon would come in almighty with that. If you don't like it, you can get out. But he also would never actually fire anyone except for me. So he backed down easily, but then he'd get angry and resentful about it. So that's where you always had this angry Damon that you were dealing with. And that's where it kind of,
sure.
And so at first I try to reason with him. I try to help him, and I try to, and there was a period of time where I felt like Damon was the doom and gloom, and Gators was the, well, let's look at all the nice things we have here, because it was a regular thing on the talk list for Damon to do this, you're not contributing enough around here. Mind you, this is the talk list. He's talking to the listeners, bitching at them for not contributing to the show enough with the way they call, you stupid callers calling with your stupid things. It's like, dude, Damon, they're the listeners. What the fuck are you?
Yeah.
But he'd also do that with the staff. He'd be like, this isn't working.
Don't piss on the customer.
This isn't, that. He'd come in with his list of airing of grievances against the station, and I'd come in and I'd be like, look, I understand that you're angry about things here, and there are things that need to be improved, but we have some pretty good things going for us right now. And then I'd start listing this, and that. Now here's what we can do. And then somehow it turned into me being the bad guy. Now, mind you, that wasn't always the case. There were times where I did come in, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. Fuck you, fuck you. Dune writes in, Damon sadly saw internet radio as a finite amount of possible listeners, where the goal was to create more listeners. Well, Damon, he didn't necessarily see it finite, but he saw Damon was way too focused on the numbers. Whereas I never cared about the numbers. But Damon goes, well, that, I didn't mean to go into this level here with this.
Sure.
Sparky writes in, what? I don't do enough around here? I will have you know, I'm the one who empties the trash cans after everyone else leaves.
Oh, thank you, man.
You missed one, Sparky.
that is total trash talking. No, that's funny.
No, but we do thank you for the trash cans that you did empty. Always
the
appreciate it.
thing is, you know, we don't actually have expenses here, right?
Right.
I mean, other than your own computer that you log
Yeah.
into,
At this
your
point, we're doing it
camera,
free.
your headphone.
We don't need a telethon anymore.
Right.
You could do this shit for free with video now. It used to be you had to have server expenses to relay an audio stream to hundreds of listeners.
Right. But theoretically, in fact, I just connected with this guy on YouTube regarding Oak Island. Oops, that slipped out. And the guy that suggested the channel's like, please subscribe because he's going for 1,000 followers. In fact, when I checked, he was about 750 or something like that, because he wants to get the level to it's monetized. You know, to some people, that's an important thing. I know a lot of YouTubers that, in fact, they only want to go to that level because there are special scheduling features and stuff like this to the content providers. They didn't give a shit about a nickel. They didn't need the money. You know, they were doing it for fun. And so that's their only reason for going for bigger numbers. At one time, you could get this high number of features by having 10 followers. Well, that's long ago. You don't get that on YouTube anymore.
Let me run a quick little test run here. I haven't checked my wires in a while, so I don't know if my
Do you cut the green one or the red one?
Well, let's find out. All right, that works.
Yay.
Hello, welcome to Skype call testing service. After the beep, please record a message. Afterwards, your message will be played back to you.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, it got me. That's why I said that.
Yes. So now we know that your voice comes in quieter than mine, and I'm okay with that.
Well, yeah.
So the $1 million question is do we still have David's cell number on the list here? Yes, we do. And do you think he'll pick up?
Does he still have that cell phone?
Yes, he does, but he stopped taking my calls or Skype calls years ago. But you know, I want to see if I think he might agree that, like, you know, oh, thank God that's over. But then again, he left us long before we stopped doing.
Well, he was
things.
kind of making the transition to. He was with who was he with?
Well, Liam, but let's see.
Liam, and that was cool.
It was.
If it goes to a message box, we'll tell him that we love him. We're about love
hey, what's
now.
up? It's Damien. I can't take your call right now. Please leave your name, number, and message after the beep, and I will call you back as soon as I can. Thank you, and have a great day.
Hey, Damon. It's Gators, and it's Brian, right?
Yeah, Brian Blues is here.
And we called you for one very important reason.
We love you.
We love you. We just wanted to call you to let you know we love you.
Yeah, and we got a show going on here, so let me see if there's any callers that give a crap. Nope, there's no callers that say anything.
Nope. So this is Gators. This is Brian. We love you.
We're promoting love.
Yes.
Peace and love.
And you have a good night. He's not even going to listen.
He's probably getting a one. Delete. They're fucking up my mailbox.
There we go. Warhawk Radigan, welcome to Sound Check. No, that was a whole different show. And Sparky pointing out, when he gets 1,000, he will want 5,000.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Or he'll hit 1,000, and then YouTube will say, "Well, to monetize, you have to have 5,000 followers."
Sparky writes in, you're taking up Skype server space. Ah, well. I guess Skype doesn't.
Yeah, but
use,
the recording was his cell phone, right?
yeah.
Yeah, and
Well,
the good thing is that the mailbox wasn't full.
And the good thing is that Skype doesn't use CrowdStrike, so otherwise it might have blue screened my computer.
Excellent.
Yeah, what do you think of that, Brian? As a programmer, what do you think of that clusterfuck?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
How long have I been screaming about security policies getting out of hand and hindering us?
Oh, all along.
For at least 14
it's
years.
Not. Yeah. Well, it seems like the tighter they make the security, the more difficult it is to use the product. I still love the fact that you log into something and it's still throwing up that "Are you a robot?" thing, and pick the squares that have the bus in it or whatever, right?
Right.
And I kind of like, I'm going to fail half the time. A robot's going to hit it every time. Okay.
Well, that's how they know it's a robot, when they get it right.
That's right. Right. So if you fail 3 times, okay, the guy's not a robot. Let's let him through. The guy's an idiot. He's not a robot.
It actually, I think there is more to it than just answering the question right. I think it also monitors the behavior of the process,
how you're
of answering
clicking
the question.
and whatever. Yeah,
the mouse movements, the timing, the clicking. Of course, then you could add randomization into that. So,
in fact, actually, the last time I did it, and I thought, you click, I'm not a robot, and it either passes or fails and moves on. Well, I did click. And I think I did the click to go for it, but somehow got unclicked, and it didn't fail. It let me fix it and then resubmit. It was like, I've never seen that one before.
Yeah, I don't
Who
know.
knows? Who knows?
Know.
Maybe AI figure out this guy's an idiot, so we're going to have to give him a second chance. Otherwise, we're going to be all day.
Oh man, God, I still remember the time I almost lost my Facebook account to AI or its intelligence or lack of, because that was actually technically before AI, right? Right, long before.
Yeah.
Because me being a super popular internet radio personality, I had hundreds of people friending me that I had never met and didn't know who they were. And when I say hundreds, I mean tens. But
yes, right. Just like this show, right? We got how many people we have on now? 4
5
people.
So several of my Facebook friends were people I had never met and that I didn't know what they looked like. I couldn't pick them out in a crowd. I'd only ever seen their profile picture, their name when I was in Facebook. So it wasn't anything I had memorized. And so for some reason, Facebook was not accepting my password. And I had to do a password reset and the way to do verification was not only to click a link for my email, because maybe I compromised my email or maybe my email got hacked. So they wanted to make sure that I could identify my Facebook friends by their picture, by name with multiple choice. And I could not.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Shoot. Like, yeah.
And the thing is they had like an allowance to get some of them wrong because they understood that sometimes you don't know what everyone looks like, but they only let you get like 3 wrong. So and then I took the test like 5 times, and then they said you took it too many times. You have to wait an hour or 2. So
that's annoying.
It took me half a day to finally get a lucky round of this quiz to get it right. And it was, I thought I was going to have to start a new Facebook account and have to friend everyone again and leave behind my history.
I do have a Brian Blues Facebook account.
Yeah.
Although I don't use it. I haven't used it in a long time. At one time I thought I was going to switch to it. But in fact, I created it because when I'm playing a game, some of these games in the past would give you bennies for befriending people. Well, you figure out who's also playing the game, and so you befriend them on Facebook, but you don't actually know them. So I have a bunch of I still get notifications from on that account via the email that says, "Oh yes, such and such just posted." Yeah, I remember that person, but I can't remember where from. It's just that person posts a lot. I can't believe that person is still posting.
So I have a Johnny Gators profile, and I think you're friends with it. But I recently added my official Johnny Gators Polaroids to that Facebook account, just to make an update. But I rarely log into. In fact, I'm logging onto it now for the first time since I updated.
But I take it Johnny Gators Polaroids, meaning you're posting Polaroid pictures.
Right, the pictures of the Johnny Gators and the
isn't
Gatorades.
Isn't that what Instagram is for?
Well,
whatever.
That's not the point of the. So the reason why I created a Johnny Gators account is kind of funny, because for one thing, I thought it would make sense to separate out these friends from that I don't know, so that my Facebook account wouldn't get But I didn't remove those friends, and I didn't force them over. The real reason why I started the Johnny Gators account is actually kind of funny. And the reason for that is because I did something as a joke that out of context didn't sound like a joke. And what happened was I left Vamp a voicemail, and I'm trying to see if I can find this. Why can't I find this? Man, why does Facebook suck so much? No, I don't want to see feed.
It's horrible. Finding stuff on Facebook is impossible.
Yeah. I used to have...
Yeah, in fact, shouldn't there be a button where I list all the stuff that I posted recently?
Yeah.
You could go in either kind of enter, you kind of go, oh, I shouldn't have said that.
Okay, so here's a bunch of people sending me birthday greetings. And let's see if I can find... Oh, here we go. Start a new job.
Is that a real birth date or a fictitious one?
That is a real birth date.
But not for you.
there were absolutely people born on that day.
I think for my Brian Blues, I use January 1. So if you come across a Brian Blues Facebook, go ahead and friend me and post me happy birthday greetings.
You know what? I thought he retagged me here because I know I heard this again recently, but I forget where I heard it again. But what happened was I left Vamp a voicemail during a show. And it was one of these things that I wasn't angry at Vamp, and I wasn't calling Vamp to be angry at Vamp. I was very drunk, and I was calling Vamp to do it because Gators and Vamp would do this kind of playful banter thing on our shows at times. And I kind of miss that. I miss doing shows with Vamp. Because I always tried to be this kind of I felt like Vamp played the straight man or like he was pretending to be a straight, and the Gators just kind of come in and knock him down. Like he set him up, I knock him down. I kind of felt like he was the straight man. I was the, punchline man.
Sure.
And,
making Punch and Judy.
Usually making him the butt of the joke. But it was all in good fun. That's just, but then again, a big part of that had to do with that a lot of times when we did these shows, it was back in Vamp's drinking days when he was drinking maybe a little too much. And so sometimes he did make a little fool of himself. Mind you, I've done plenty of making a fool of myself drunk on the show.
Sure.
I've done a little making a fool of myself drunk on my phone in the past year. I'm not going to do that anymore. Scout's honor. Hate the Scouts.
Right. Mark your calendar. Here it is. July 22nd, 2024. Johnny says he's not going to do that anymore.
Yeah, no, once I had my siblings saying, "Oh yeah, what was the deal with that stream?" It's like, no, you weren't supposed to see that. Why are you following my YouTube account? So I'm not. So I
well, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
The way I look at it, you shouldn't be ashamed of what you said or what you do. Right.
Well, I was,
which is why I kind of.
Here's the thing.
I'm reluctant to drink during the show, And the thing that really got me when I took that swig of was it Scotch or I
yes,
think it was Irish whiskey.
Bushmills Irish whiskey.
Yeah, took a swig of that, and I just kind of was too enthusiastic about it. It's surprising that I didn't spray the whole computer.
See, I don't mind drinking and doing a show anymore. I just don't know about getting to the point where I'm staggering home and slurring like an idiot and talking.
Good thing home is in the next room over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I find
I know. Let's do a pose, okay?
I don't have a problem listening to most of my drunk shows, but I didn't like watching my recent drunk YouTube streams. And so I'm not going to do that again, or if I do, I do it differently.
Yeah.
But anyways, where was I getting at when I got sidetracked? So Vamp and I, we were young in our 20s, doing a lot of drinking on the weekends and doing shows, and there was one night that I streamed with Vamp, and because he just wanted to go on and do a show. He's like, hey, I need to do a fill-in tonight. You want to join me? I'm like, sure, I'll do that. And Vamp would start someone listening had the phone numbers of D-list celebrities. So Vamp was calling them. And if you gave me a phone number, I would never call someone and right out of the gate go, hey, fuck you, or start messing with it. But Vamp was just like, who cares?
But you will call someone that you kind of know from the past and tell them, I love you, buddy.
I mean, or I'll call an 800 number that used to be for an electronics store and ask whoever picks up if they'll sell me a Betamax. I mean, that's my idea.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
But Vamp was tearing into to these people. So he calls this one number of a guy that was on a past season of Survivor that was doing a internet stream on a website called Monks Media. And he was basically doing a podcast. Well, I don't know if it was even called podcast there. He was doing a internet stream where he was talking about the current season of Survivor and as he put it, why they're all idiots. So
sure.
So we call this guy not knowing who the fuck he is or why the fuck we're calling him, and Vamp is just picking on him, and he's giving it right back. And so at some point I started playing like a moderator, giving each of them points while they're snapping back and forth. Because at some point, this guy was better than Vamp at the sniping. And I'm like, I'm sorry, Vamp. I got to give this guy the point, man. That was a good... And he starts laughing. So we were all laughing. So I turned it into...
That turns into funny stuff.
Right. So I turned it into a good thing. So I felt like Vamp and I had a good way of balancing each other out and having fun with this snipey thing. And, in some ways I liked making Vamp the fall guy for it, though, but kept us all laughing. And this guy then basically said, well, now you got to call into my show next week. And it never happened. I don't even know if he had a number, but I said I was going to make Vamp call into his show and we would redo this then on his show, but I couldn't get Vamp to go along with it, and life went on.
So Vamp was basically done with it.
Well, then he wasn't always drunk, but when he was,
yeah.
He was really drunk. But the funny part about that stream was at some point he goes to a break and he goes, yeah, I'll be right. I got to go to a break, smoke break. I'll be right back. And he goes to a break and it plays a song and it plays a promo and it plays another promo and it plays a bit. And then it starts playing like a replay of the previous week's show. And it's going on for 15 minutes. I'm like, where the fuck is Vamp? So I pick up the phone and I call Vamp. And I'm like, dude, Vamp, what the fuck's going on? Did you forget that you're doing a show? He's like, hang on. I'm just unloading the groceries from the car.
Oh, God.
I'm like,
so he went drunk grocery shopping?
No, I think he went grocery shopping before the stream, but forgot to unload the car. And then when he went out for a smoke break, he was like, oh, yeah. I need to unload the groceries from the car.
That makes sense.
So
Yes. Yes. Thanks for calling me, but I'm in jail. Do you have some bail money you can send?
So he comes back from the break, and I spend like the next half hour busting his balls for taking a break to unload groceries from the car, leaving us all waiting for a half hour. Like, what the fuck is that? Who does that? Who unloads the groceries from their car during a break in the middle of hosting a show? So
Yeah.
Those are the things I have fond memories of the early days of.
Hey, the
of
only
doing
thing that's
NHB.
legit, right, is to walk away from picking up the package when the UPS guy drops it off, right? Get it off the door to avoid the porch pirates, and when you got to go pee.
So the point is
or take a dump.
So the point is that I had this antagonistic on-air persona relationship with Vamp that, I communicated like, you my brother by saying, fuck you, man. So one drunken night during a show, I call Vamp, and I guess I hadn't heard from him in a while, so I was a little pissed that he wasn't picking up his phone and he wasn't returning his calls. But I wasn't really as angry as I made the voicemail sound. So since he didn't pick up, I decided it'd be funny to just let off a string of profanities at him and just say fuck you multiple times and just leave an angry voicemail like that, because fuck you for not picking up your call or calling me. But it was done in that whole like Johnny Gators being antagonistic towards Vamp for show type of vein. So, I get the voicemail and I go, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And I may have thrown in some sea bubbles in there as well. And it was a very lengthy profanity filled rant that, not in context, sounds very rude and crude and doesn't reflect well on me. In the context, it's just, a part of the NHB experience. I mean, that's why we put Sea Bubble right up on the page in big letters so that you knew what you were getting. So in response, a very sober Vamp, mind you, I think I left this voicemail after Vamp stopped drinking. So, that was just backstory to explain my mindset of how I approach Vamp on air. So this video gets posted to Facebook that he tags me on of him going, oh, Gators left me a message. And he hits play, and it's this very drunken Gators coming out of his phone. Fuck you, fuck you. And Vamp is doing this straight man, classy with his, collared shirt, making facial expressions as the profanity gets worse. Like, and then the message stops, and Vamp just looks at the camera and says, classy. And then that's the end of the video. And he tagged me on that on my normal account, which means that if, like, my relatives who are on Facebook log into Facebook and see what's on my feed or what I've been tagged in, they might hear drunken Gators laying into Vamp with all this profanity while this very, professional looking individual reacts with horror on his facial expressions. So I was like, that is not at all the right context for this. So I quickly untagged that, and that's when I set up the Johnny Gators Facebook account. I'm like, hey, Vamp, you want to share that stuff? That's cool. Tag that guy that my family's not friends with. Don't tag my account that my family's friends with.
Right.
Sparky Toaster not knowing what Sea Bubble is.
Hey, thanks for the question, Sparky. And I'll answer the question. Here's Johnny.
You know what? I realize if I'm going to explain, the thing is that Sea Bubble is not what I said. It's a word that starts with C, but I said that because that was a reference the old timers on NHB would understand. And to explain what I mean by a word that starts with C, let me see. Somewhere I have a clip of Dune saying it. Let me see if I can find. Now we find out if Dune's still listening and how long it takes him to
That's
go.
Right.
No!
That's right.
Yes. The word C does end in T, but all right. So I got to explain why C bubble. All right. So Sparky knows
now
the word.
We have a word that starts with C and ends with T.
Yes.
Huh. Let's see. I can't think of what that is yet.
No, you can't. But if you were talking in a British accent. So the C bubble is at some point in time there was a listener who someone called into a show and complained that there should be some kind of a warning for the type of content that's on here. And
because no holes barred
right
wasn't obvious enough.
And that's the thing is we kind of ridiculed that because it's like, do you see the website that you go to? Because back then, generally you went to the website to click the listen link, or you were there at some point in time. And I mean, the website
says, adult warning or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So someone said maybe we just need to put the word C bubble in big text up on top of the screen just to make sure that you understand the type of material you're getting when you come here to listen. And this became such a funny running joke, and Rico was listening at the time, that Rico made it happen. And it put this banner up on top of the page. It just said C --T bubble. That's all it said. There was no context. Now, one of the people among the people who did not hear this stream when it happened at first was Dune. And boy, was Dune surprised when he pulled up NHBRadio.com from work the next day. Because I remember a very confused email coming into the staff list going, why does the page say C bubble on top of it when I load it?
And yes, you're right. Dune's come back and says, oh no.
Yeah, that reminds me. Let's see if we can find. Here it is.
Cunt. Oops. This is Sparky. Scent? Count? Yes. Good man. Thinking of the words that it could be.
Yes, that is the. I think Damon once wrote a song about it. Let's see if I can find that. I should have it somewhere. Oh, here we go. So here's the original song.
It's the most offensive word you can say. It's cunt. It's great for weddings, birthdays too. It's cunt. Say the word that's sweeping the nation. It's cunt.
Now, the reason I played that is because, to me, the real funny joke about that song is when they made a radio-friendly version of it.
It's the most offensive word you can say. It's cunt. It's great for weddings, birthdays too. It's cunt. Say the word that's sweeping the nation. It's cunt.
You get the idea.
Yeah, that's good.
And then the reason why I had that clip of Dune is because they decided to make a version of Dune singing it.
Cunt!
Oh, no, that's not the right one. Where is it? It's that's just the isolation. Oh, here it is.
Cunt! Cunt! Oh, shoot. Cunt!
It's the most offensive word you can say. It's
Cunt!
You get the idea. Oh, and just for good measure, I do have an isolation of Vamp saying it as well.
Cunt!
All right. Anyways. So those are the fun memories I have of NHB. They're not all angry.
Yeah.
Some of them are just
and
embarrassing.
See, that's what you have to, actually, when your thought is going into the negative,
Yeah.
you need to bring up in your mind, but the good times were cunt.
Yeah.
Wait a second. That doesn't-
Well, the problem is, and it's not really a problem. I think I handle myself and my past and my actions pretty well, and no one's perfect. But the thing is I have a whole lot more to think and say about the things that make me angry than the things that didn't. But then again, I just spent a bunch of time talking about a bunch of things that didn't make me angry. But those are just like, remember those good times. Whereas the things that make me angry, I have a lot of like things I could process there. And I could just go around in circles for hours. And so at some point I have to like force myself to like, all right, we're going to stop listening to this episode. This is not, there's just no material here there's nothing salvageable here. Like the first 2 hours of the show.
No redeeming quality, right?
Yeah. Well, there's no redeeming qualities of me screaming at Loopy to just stop writing into my show because I don't give a shit what she has to say at this point.
Sure.
Now, ultimately, I did not stay angry at Loopy. I don't think I was ever on friendly terms with her again, but I think we both moved on and didn't hold our grudges. So, meanwhile, they're all looking at ducks.
You could attempt to see if you could get her to join this show.
No, she's not with us anymore. So, yeah.
Are we talking about in the Deep Six?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, she's no longer.
Conjure up from the grave?
She did host a show called Shadows of Doubt and was into the whole ghost hunter type of stuff. Ooh. So I suppose if anyone were going to ring Skype as a ghost and conduct a so, I had my moments that she made me angry and I thought about them today, but ultimately that's not how I want to remember her. She did a really good show.
Well, oftentimes when a person passes, you're kind of stuck with that anger that things were left unresolved.
Well, I don't necessarily think that things are left unresolved because we weren't friends. We weren't close. We were in the same circles, and we had times that we crossed paths that were positive, and we had times that we crossed paths that were negative.
But there's always regrets that things weren't better.
I don't think I left things on bad terms with her, but I never went back to do anything there.
But it wasn't really resolved, which is why you're still thinking about it.
I had nothing to resolve there.
Well, this is what this whole show is about: is trying to resolve an issue. What are you talking about? Yeah, I think you're delusional, dude.
No, I'm not delusional. What did I had resolved there? She pissed me off. I got angry, and that was that.
Right. Yeah, you're still talking about it.
Well, because things came up today that made me think about it, and tomorrow I'll probably stop thinking about it again.
Because the anniversary will be passed.
Sometimes we remember events. Sometimes we're reminded of things in our past that made us angry. That there really is nothing that needs to be done there,
Nothing can be done, right? She's gone, right?
And heck, I could say a little. I certainly wish her well in whatever adventure she's on now, because I don't hold any grudges. But ultimately, I'm still going to think that I wasn't wrong to be angry at her for the way she carried herself during my show. Although I always did understand that she was probably having a rough time and took things out of me. And I certainly didn't leave things in a position that would leave her feeling like she would owe me an apology because I gave it right back to her. I don't know. It just, it's a thing that happened, and that's that.
It is what it is.
But Loopy certainly isn't the one that makes me the most angry when I think back. I mean, ultimately, I think the biggest butting of heads in the history of NHB was between me, Damon, and Rico.
Yeah.
and that's an issue that will never be resolved. The three of us will never see eye to eye on that, and that's fine. I have my way. I see how I have my view. They have theirs.
You have made the first move by saying, Damon, I love you.
Yeah, but I did that because I knew it would piss him off.
Fair enough. And if he got that voicemail and then he decided he's going to listen to our show and he just heard that, he kind of go, "Oh fuck, he didn't even mean it."
I'm just kidding. Actually,
I know. Just
here's
kidding.
the thing.
Sure,
whenever something comes in my head that'd be the funny thing to say, whether or not that's true, I'm gonna say it, because this show isn't about the truth. This show is about funny, and if something that's not true is funny, I'm gonna say it, and then I'll correct myself afterwards.
Right.
But I'm gonna say it.
Sure.
But yeah, no, I think that was a good way to go with the voicemail to David, just because it was kind of funny. I don't know, but yeah, I think that is going to be the ultimate disagreement that goes on unresolved, and there's nothing to resolve because it's just in history now. I have my view on the way things went there and what was right, what was wrong, and what and Damon has his view, and Rico has his view,
and we just invited Damon to be part of our show to get his view out, and if he chooses not to, also
hell no. Damon and I have hashed that out enough. If I ever had Damon on the show, the last thing I'm going to talk about is, so let's talk about NHB 2010.
Yeah.
No. I'd much rather talk about NHB 2007 than 2010. But
or talk about the Curse of Oak Island.
No. I'd rather talk about NHB 2010 than that.
Yeah, right.
No,
I just thought I'd throw that in there.
No.
We're between seasons. Actually, they're writing the current season, so.
You just want me to play the song again, don't you?
I know.
There is no wood.
Yes.
I still love the 60s
Every grain of slips
vibe.
Through with each old map, the myth renews, a story we can't help but pursue.
Babe.
But the truth eludes the light on Oak Isle. The search goes on tonight. No, there ain't no treasure here, baby. Just wooden beams and sand so clear. We searched the shores both far and near, baby, but there's nothing we could see. Oak Isle I dream of gold. We dug down deep with hope in hand through ghostly tales of pirate lands. But all we found was driftwood strands, baby, and seashells on the sand.
And the lead cross. That was from the beach.
Uh-huh. That's all there is to find. Just
so this guy that's going for 1,000 followers on YouTube, what his shtick is, I think he goes out on a boat near the island, sends out a drone, and takes some video of the thing. And it's the episode I watched was about 8 minutes of video, the drone flying around, and then he edits in. He puts background music, and then he talks about what he sees, speculating what he sees. The biggest thing that he saw in this was they have this new big red machine to supplement the machine they already have, which will take the dirt that's all over the island that has been dug up in the past, sift, and it's a big mechanized sifter to see if they can find anything out of the sand or the dirt, I should say.
Okay.
Is this a big deal? Is this important? Is this, who knows? They got a new machine. They're spending tons of money on this. Apparently, the History Channel is still with them, still willing to, hey, they still got viewers. What the hell? That show's going to keep going.
So
in the group that I'm in, there are a lot of people that says there is no damn treasure, or that treasure was taken 200 plus years ago. Maybe so, but
I'm telling you, it's not rocket science.
Of course it's not.
You dig a hole in an island, it's gonna fill with water. There's no pirate trap. It's just a fucking water hole. That's
no, absolutely. I mean, there's many other things that suggest that they're not going to find anything. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I totally agree. The whole basis of why they continue is because there's a core of people there that believe, right?
At this point, the only treasure is whatever money the TV show is making. So really, they're just running.
And I've said this on the group many times.
Oak Island has been a scam from the beginning, and now it's a scam of the modern era.
Well, and to me, I kind of think of like Geraldo Rivera had his what's his name's Al Capone's riches. He dug a hole in the basement of this building to find riches, and he found nothing. But it was one episode. The whole effort they put in is probably a day or two,
right?
Probably a couple of days of editings and stuff like that. Well, in fact, they were playing that like this was a live thing, and then it was over with. There was nothing found.
Right.
The thing I think interesting. You ever watch that guy Josh Gates on Discovery Channel with his exploration show? The interesting thing about that, he goes into different things and he's looking for this or that, some pirate, the tomb of Alexander the Great, this guy, that, all kinds of strange things. And, he's really just kind of talking about the mystery and the myth and what happens with the hope that something will be found, but they leave an episode to go on to something else, often unresolved. And the guy is kind of amusing and he's kind of a dork, and he could be a you or me, although he does some shit that I'm too old to do any of that shit anymore. So,
So Dune's asking a question here because Dune has an idea that he thinks is in my head, and I need to explain that no, that's not what I'm thinking. But Dune's question here. So Johnny, please help me understand. Why do you think that islands float? So Dune thinks that when I say that it's not rocket science, you dig a hole into an island, you hit water, that I have this vision of a landmass that's just floating on the water, and you punch through, and there's the water under there. That is not what I'm picturing.
Well, because if that was the case, Dune, you punch a hole through and suddenly your island sinks.
Right.
And that's not what's happening.
Blub, 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 blub. No,
yes.
But what I'm getting at is, here's something. I'm no geologist, so I don't understand how all this works, and I could have some of this wrong, although I'm pretty sure there's no treasure and it's all a scam. As far as why the hole filled with water, is there a pirate trap or not, I don't think there is, but I'm also going on this based on no scientific research.
Well, in fact...
But if I may finish my thought.
They have found...
If I may finish my thought.
But they have found these drains. Okay.
I'm not.
Now the suggestion is that those drains are actually flood tunnels. The drains meaning you're draining water away from the money pit, where then the alternative is that those drains are there actually to bring water into the money pit. So which is it? Is it a drain, or is it a way to flood the thing?
Also, let's keep in mind that we have a history of attempts to retrieve something from the bottom of these holes, And so there very well
Absolutely.
may have been drains dug by past
Yeah.
idiots that thought they found treasure.
Yeah, I mean, the Reader's Digest
But-
came out in the
but-
mid-'60s.
But what I'm getting at
Yeah.
is that if you go, I know I'm not a geologist, but what
Yeah.
I do know is if you go to the beach and you dig a hole deep enough, you hit water.
Okay, now typically a beach is just sand, and water flows very quickly through sand. So absolutely, you're going to hit water there. But
And
Oak
islands are
Island-
going to have different layers
Hang
of
on.
different things.
and Oak Island, when you get into toward bedrock, you're seeing a lot of limestone. Oh yeah, limestone is also very porous.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if you have a tunnel, okay, you dig a hole, you'll get salt water. Okay. If it's filtered through the limestone, you dig a hole, you'll get fresh water. They never tell you when they hit water whether it's fresh or they'll hint, but they don't really do science on it. What is the salinity?
The point is you dig
Okay.
you
Are
dig
they
a
getting
hole in an island, you get
Okay.
water. That's just
Sure,
you know,
but it makes a difference whether it's salt water or fresh water. Fresh water means something. Salt water would mean something different.
but it also doesn't necessarily mean that it was a trap laid. It could just mean there's some natural pathway that the water's taken.
Absolutely.
The point
But
is,
if
I
it's
don't
fresh water,
it's-
it's not a man-made path from the ocean.
digging a deep ass hole into an island and having it filled with water doesn't
Sure.
mean, oh my God, pirates made that happen.
Sure, right.
Now-
Well,
now,
actually, at about the time of Rustall, and that's
Mhm.
the main focus of the article, there was also a guy, Dunfield, that got this big old clamshell crane, and he dug 120 feet deep. The only reason why it stopped is the whole thing was starting to fill up with water, and it collapsed.
Mhm.
He went below the water line, and it happened in a very dramatic function. It's just killed his project, but he made a mess of the place, and also he wasn't at the so-called money pit. He was too close. He was too close to the water's edge.
Well, no one even agrees on what is a money pit on this place. You know what, Brian? You dragged me
actually,
you dragged me into way more. This is not an Oak Island show. We don't discuss Oak Island on this show.
Sure, yeah. That's right. We don't talk about it.
No, I'm not. No,
Exactly.
I've said my piece.
Yeah. But see, there's a lot of controversy and whatever, and you could take any side you want. No. Right. Or you change the channel and you watch an episode of Star Trek. Hey, what episode of Star Trek are you on?
Well, right now I'm at a point where I'm watching Voyager episodes because we started new season. So I'm at the point in Voyager where 7 of 9 is joining the crew. And
yeah.
Which means that after we get to the point where Deep Space Nine starts their new season, that's the start of the Dominion War. Basically, they've mined.
So you're still in.
They've mined the wormhole. They evacuated the station, and that was the end of that season. So now new seasons are starting at Voyager with 7 of 9, and then the Dominion War.
Yeah, that's good. Those are good. Those are good times.
Okay.
So to say. Good times.
They were the best of times. They were the worst of times.
By the way, have you been watching any of the Disney Channel, on Disney Plus, some of the Star Wars sidekicks?
No, Kristen's parents let the Disney Plus account lapse. So.
Okay. So you're dependent on.
So
in-laws
I could sign up for it,
Yeah.
but I'm not inclined to. But we had it a while through that shared password. Now we have Paramount Plus through them, and I still got to catch up on all the new Beavis and Butthead episodes.
Right. Yeah, and to be honest, the spin-off Star Wars series are not that good.
Well, I watched.
You kind of go, what is? Like the first one was The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I watched the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian, and that was good.
It really wasn't. There were a lot of problems. Like the first episode, there's almost no dialogue whatsoever. It's just sword action, fighting, and whatever. It was pointless. Where are you going with this? The second action, the guy actually speaks, and it just didn't end up going anywhere. And then at the end, Luke shows up with the and takes away the baby Yoda. Like,
right.
What is this about again? So he can teach the Yoda.
The baby Yoda is supposed to be a Jedi.
And what does it have to do with the rest of the Star Wars canon? Nothing.
Well, no, because at that point, basically, they determine that the baby Yoda is destined to be, trained a Jedi, and Luke's like the last of the Jedi around.
Sure, the last guy to train the Jedi.
So it's a little bit of a cameo crossover thing that hey, it ties it into the universe here.
But we haven't seen the child since. So it's pointless. I saw the previews for this one Jedi that they were talking about. Oh yeah, this ought to be good. And then when I watched it, like, wow, that was such a dud. I'm not sure if it's the actor that was at fault or the writers. I think it was the writers. Just made this character that just wasn't there. Who cares? Sorry, I don't care. Who cares? Anyway. So there is something going on other than Oak Island. That was my point. And it might not be that good.
I don't know. There's
I'm tempted to get the Brit box because I like some of the British murder mystery shows that have been on PBS.
Well, here's what
They're
I've got.
Well done. There's good dialogue. There's good action.
So I went digging and I found this old treasure here, which is my Raspberry Pi 3.
Yo.
Which, as far as I know, still works, although I haven't plugged it in yet because I don't have a micro SD card for it anymore. I don't know where the micro SD card I had in here ended up.
So get another one and
I
get an image and pop it in there.
So I carefully searched Amazon for a official branded micro SD, but every time I order one of these through Amazon, I end up regretting it. But I'll be testing it thoroughly when it gets.
You're going to. I'm sure you're looking for an officially branded micro SD card,
right? With
not the image on it.
No,
or what?
No. As in a brand name brand, not a generic third party one, because they're scammed.
You were going to get a SanDisk
every time I have bought some kind of flash media off of Amazon that I think is legit and looks legit and is advertised as legit, it's a knockoff and it's scammed. Because I remember for a while I was buying these micro SD cards that they formatted fine, and then I'd throw data on them, and once they pass a certain threshold, they started corrupting. Because they didn't actually have the space on there. That the idea of the scam is we sell them as bigger, but they're actually smaller. And if people never use them to their full space,
then they're fine. Yeah,
then they're fine until they're not, and they cross that threshold, and then they'll just think that it just naturally aged. But no, I got an official SanDisk 128 Extreme. It's not a too good to be true price. I mean, 128s aren't that expensive right now. It was $20, and it's fulfilled by Amazon, so it should be legit. But then again, I have bought many fulfilled by Amazon flash devices that turned out to be scams.
Have you ever tried Kingston?
I have, but SanDisk is what showed up today. Showed up in the search yesterday when I did the purchase, and it's going to show up tomorrow on an Amazon van. So,
okay. So you got one out of order. You can try it.
It should show up tomorrow, and I'll be testing it thoroughly before I. But then the question is, I don't even know what I'm going to do with this thing. I mean, what can you do with a Raspberry Pi 3 these days? I mean, what I did with it back then was I set up RetroPie on it, so it would play a bunch of retro games, which was cool. But I found that I preferred playing retro games on original consoles, even as cool as this box was. It just, I ended up not using it.
So why are you even bothering with the memory card?
Well, because I have this Pi and I want to do something with it, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
Oh, okay.
So
Well, maybe you're going to just load the Raspbian system on it, and which is just Linux, and learn more Linux.
well, part of me thought it might be cool to find like a and again, I think of ideas and then I think of the most impractical ideas just for the cool factor.
I've been into various Open Media Vault sites, and a lot of people are just running them on Raspberry Pis. And to me, it's like, Raspberry Pi is not robust. It's not going to stand the
I
system.
would never do that.
I know. Me. And to me, the bizarre part of Open Media Vault is you can't just throw a formatted drive out on it and throw data on it. You have to declare it and tell it to format the drive. So if the Open Media Vault fails, then you have a drive that is worthless.
Well, the drive still has the data on it, though. It is a Linux server, essentially, because Open Media Vault does give you to a Linux command prompt. And from there, you can browse and copy data. So, no, the drive is perfectly...
but you cannot directly connect to the drive.
No, but well, let me put it like this. If you have a USB drive that you connect in and you set up shares on it and you put data on it, and then you disconnect that drive and you connect that drive to another computer with USB, you can get the data off of it.
Yeah. Another Linux box, right?
Depends on the format.
Yeah.
I think if you use I think there are formats that are compatible across Linux or Windows.
Sure, yeah, sure.
But most likely in Linux. I mean, the thing is I take a backup of my Open Media Vault server onto an external drive, and I'm running Linux commands to basically copy any change that has happened from the last time I backed up to that external drive.
Yeah.
So, no, my thought is I do try to do different things with multi-zone stereo to have a stereo zone in my kitchen. And for a while, I put up a shelf to put in an old 8-track AM/FM radio that I was running the Zone 2 out from my main home theater into the line input on there. So that way I could, from the kitchen, pop in an 8-track tape or switch it over and play Zone 2 stuff from the main
Or as
system.
Sparky says,
but
Sonic has a half-price burgers on Tuesdays.
Yeah, because that was relevant to what I was talking about.
I know. I'm not sure how that fit in. I just wanted to make sure it was...
But part of me thought, well, maybe I don't want to exclude myself to just, listening to some tunes in the kitchen while I'm doing stuff in the kitchen. I remember back in the day, it was awesome. It was absolutely cool if you went into someone's house and they had a under the counter mini TV mounted under there. And so then I'm thinking man, if I found one of those, what could I do with one of those? Well, I couldn't tune in TV on it because the old TV tuners don't get anything in. And most of them probably only have an RF and don't have a composite. But then there are YouTube videos on how you can add composite inputs to TVs, although it's a little over my head. But part of me wonders, would it be possible to build a project where you somehow convert a vintage under-the-counter CRT TV to tap in to the multi-zone home theater system so that I could somehow stream and network TV options in addition to music options?
Why would you want to use a CRT screen?
Because it's cool.
Even though the line resolution count is way lower than HD.
This isn't about practicality, Brian. This is just cool factor.
Oh, I forgot. I'm talking to Johnny.
Yes. Do you not remember who you're talking to?
I did. I forgot there for a moment.
The thing is that the more I think about it, the more I run into problems of it making it actually perform the way that I'd want it to. I don't know how I could stream what to it, and I mean, even if I did get the Pi to stream to it, it'd be clunky because the Pi has to turn on from the power and the TV turns on with its own thing. It'd be nice if both things would turn on in one fell swoop, if you could build this into that. So it's one, and that's the level of design that I don't have. And then part of me is
see,
like,
this is what's nice about a modern TV
right.
is that it will have the HDMI inputs.
Right.
It will have a USB port on it,
Well,
so you can plug in a USB device, such as a Pi.
Well,
so the TV could power the Pi.
There's a big but here.
But
most TV USB ports don't provide enough power for USB devices that demand a certain amount of power.
Obviously, you have to look into that spec. Yeah, I mean,
right.
It does power a Roku stick, no problem.
Not all Roku sticks, though. Actually, I think I had problems with Amazon sticks flickering, and some Roku sticks.
Well, but you were using some cheap ass TV, though.
And some Roku sticks will tell you this is not providing enough power. The only way to get guaranteed supplied power.
Well, I have 5 Roku sticks and 5 different TVs, and none of them have reported that problem.
Well, I've had multiple TVs have.
Well,
power.
You got cheap ass TVs.
One of them is a Vizio
that fails. That fails?
No,
that's a question.
What do you mean by fails?
Gives you that not enough power error.
I've seen the not enough power error on some of my devices on that.
Oh, okay.
Not all USB ports provide the same amount of power, the TV's USB port is more for like a service access thing. It's not designed specifically to provide power to certain devices.
Right. So what you need to do is do a splitter. There are cables that are data only. There are cables that are quote unquote actually you just go through a hub that has power.
Well, if you're going to have to plug something in, but yes, getting a powered USB hub is a way to get around power issues.
Sure.
But if you're going to have to plug something into a power outlet, you may as well just plug your device directly into a power outlet rather than get a powered USB hub off of this problematic.
Well, but the USB hub also mixes in the data. That's the point of it.
Well,
so it's providing the power, and the data is coming.
But the micro USB on this doesn't do data; it just does power.
Sure.
So, anyways, the point is that now there's part of me that kind of comes from the mindset of if you get like something that's just completely broken and you take the guts out of it and you just like mount a LCD screen where the CRT used to be, and you got this empty thing, then you could just build something modern inside of this empty case. But then part of me is like, but there is a coolness factor to using the original CRT television.
The coolness that you've wasted a lot of counter space in your kitchen.
Well, I have space to mount things. But no USB toaster. Definitely not on the TV anyways.
Right.
Let's see. A toaster needs 800 watts to run. USB can provide about 4.5 watts.
Yeah.
Even a USB-C can only get to about 100 watts. So, yeah. There was a moment that I have the thought that, like, maybe in the future, all power outlets will have USB ports on them. And then it's like, no, you're only maybe half, but you're always going to need to have something that's going to, you're not going to light a light bulb from a USB port. Well, it depends. Some of the LED
I have a little LED,
but you're not going to light an incandescent bulb off of a.
Yeah, but if you're still using an incandescent bulb, you're an idiot.
But lamps have the capability to use it. Some people for ambiance still might use one here and there.
There is so much available now in LED lights.
Yeah, I know.
The excuse is stupid. You've got money to burn. Why don't you burn dollar bills instead?
But as long as a light bulb socket exists, one could potentially screw an incandescent bulb in there. And if we switch our power grid over to something that doesn't support that, that could cause a problem.
Well, our grid can't support shit anyway. Look at the people in the Houston area that are still out of power from the hurricane that was 2 weeks ago.
Well, Sparky writes in, I bet Johnny still has incandescent bulbs. I think I have a few of them in the basement just because they were in the house when I moved in, and when I replaced the bulbs, I tend to not throw out things that still work, whether or not I have a practical use for them.
So
but
you have a drawer full of incandescent bulbs.
I have a box of incandescent bulbs in my basement somewhere.
Yeah.
That they came with the house, but none of these light fixtures have incandescent bulbs in them anymore.
What cracks me up is when we came back from Singapore and we were not converted to incandescent yet, the renter of this house had left 11 bulbs that were dead. Now, what the fuck is that about?
Meaning, like the light fixtures.
I had to replace 11 bulbs. Bottom line.
Well, let me follow that up with a story.
I haven't in a dozen years replaced 11 bulbs.
Well, this story might answer that story.
Sure.
So I had to help Kristen's parents move a few weeks ago. And when we were helping them move, one of the things that we did as we were, moving things out of the old house, which was a Navy housing. So as we're moving out of there, he opened up a cabinet. He took out a box of incandescent bulbs, and he started unscrewing the LED bulbs from the light fixtures and screwing the incandescent bulbs back into the light fixtures, because those are the bulbs that came with the house when they moved in. And now that he's moving out, he's taking his more expensive bulbs with him.
Sure, yeah.
And put in so maybe
after all, he is an admiral and he's a fucking cheap ass. Sure.
No, he didn't make admiral. He retired just short of that. But
okay. So he's a commander.
Captain.
Or captain.
Captain. Yes.
Yeah. Cheap ass captain.
Cheap ass captain. There
he is going to make a bigger retirement income than you'll ever even dream
I'm sure he researched those bulbs that he bought. These were not just, Walmart on sale LED bulbs. These were things he special ordered to light to his desire. So he wants to bring those with him. So he left it as he found it. So maybe
they'll also line his coffin when he goes.
So maybe the people that rented your house took the incandescent bulbs out and used other bulbs, and maybe they were a bit careless or with those bulbs, or maybe
I have no
maybe
evidence
sitting for a few years.
I have no evidence that they swapped out bulbs.
You don't have evidence that they didn't.
Well, if you go to the bulb that you're replacing and the thing has years worth of grime on it, you go, yep, that's an original bulb.
Well, it could be grime from sitting in a dusty cabinet before they just put it back in while moving out.
No, these were in place.
So what do they do? Bring in their own lamps and never use the built-in light fixtures?
I have no idea how they burned out 11 bulbs. I have no idea.
Maybe there just happened to be some power surge in the neighborhood right around the time you were moving back.
I have no idea.
That is a high number.
It's weird. Yeah, it's a mystery. It's a mystery. Let's go to Oak Island and get an answer.
No, let's not.
Like I say, there's all kinds of ideas that we could come up with on why these guys left 11 dead bulbs, but there it is.
And were they scattered throughout, or were they primarily in one location? Or?
Not all over the house, because some of the bulbs were original, because it was some renovation that we put in LED can lights. They were still all good.
Now, were there any...
some of the incandescents that hadn't been switched out? The traditional old ceiling light that people don't seem to get anymore.
So in your house, were there enough lights that you could have adequate light in the evening in most of the general purpose rooms?
Sure, absolutely.
So they basically were just lazy.
What?
So they were just lazy and didn't change the bulbs and just kept
using
whichever ones kept working. Which is
again,
odd.
We can speculate on what happened, but
because someone who can afford to rent Casa de Brian could afford some bulbs to get a little bit of light in the evening.
Absolutely, yeah. They were not Section 8 renters.
No. This is Brian. Has got a nice house in a nice neighborhood. You'd think someone renting that house would be able to afford to swap the bulbs, unless they were. Well, no, I was gonna say unless there was some sort of a cheap ass that just every time they changed the bulb, kept the old bulb to give it back because I paid for these bulbs. I'm taking them with me. But as you said, they were dusty and grimy, suggesting they were left in place.
So maybe in the years that they were here, they had some bulbs that died on them. So they put in new bulbs, but kept the dead ones. So before leaving, they put the dead ones back.
But you said they were dusted. They were dusty, like they hadn't been touched.
They'd still be dusty because they were used. They'd be dusty. They were just thrown in a dirty box. And then
that's what I suggested before, and you dismissed that.
But that wasn't fleshed out to the whole explanation.
Okay.
But again, it's just speculation anyway. I could totally reject it anyway.
Anyways,
and maybe the guy was a cheap ass.
He
didn't come across that
weird.
way. After all, the guy belongs to the country club. To me, you're not a cheap ass. Well, maybe you are a cheap ass because you belong to the country club.
You don't get rich. You don't get rich by giving it all away.
Well, that's truth. Yeah, some of the cheapest cheap asses got a lot of money for that reason.
Exactly.
Yes.
So Sparky's been writing in about his light bulbs. Let's see. Let's see. Only incandescent bulbs Sparky has are in the attic of the house and the two garages. And he's currently using them in those areas. Even his fridge has LED bulbs. That reminds me of when we went on a kind of a tour of a house in the Amish country, and we're looking at the old time Amish things and the house.
They were using gas lights or candles.
Yes, one of those. But at some point we were looking in the fridge, and one of our we
you mean the ice box?
Yeah. You could call it a fridge. It was in the kitchen. It was a box, and it had a door on it. It looked like a fridge. It just wasn't.
Did they have electricity?
No.
So it was an ice box.
It was an ice box, but it looked like a fridge. But yeah, it was an ice box. And
my folks had this place on a lake.
Well, let me finish the thought.
One of the prior uses of the property was as an ice operation. They were pulling ice out of the lake,
right?
Because people had ice boxes.
So we're there. Go ahead. We're there with our neighbors.
I had that interruption done.
We were there with our neighbors who were friends with us. We did the Hershey Park thing and Amish country thing. We're doing the Amish country tour, and one of the father of the friends that came with us, he looks in the fridge, and of course he makes the brilliant observation, and he's doing this in humor. He goes, there's no little light in the fridge. And of course, they're like, well, of course there's not going to be. How's it going to be? He's like, well, they could have put a little gas lamp in there.
Or a candle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The
trick is, how do you automatically turn on the gas lamp when you open the door? You have a little mechanical splint and a flint and steel.
Yeah, some kind of a string operation tied to the door that does whatever. Yeah. There's ways to do it. You could totally get a gas lamp in an ice box.
Well, the auto lighting would be the feature.
Yeah,
unless that's too modern for the Amish. I don't know.
I don't know.
That would be fun to spend like a week with the Amish people to learn their ways.
Well, there was a TV series, Amish in the City.
Yeah.
Which I watched a few episodes of that, because that is part of there's a tradition that when the Amish become the teenage years, they go out, live among the world, experience the world, and then decide if they want to and it's kind of a, they could keep doing it or they could go back, but generally,
right. But so that helps them firm up. Am I committed to this lifestyle of being Amish?
right.
Which I think is a good idea. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to be, hey, how does a monk, a Catholic monk, decide to be a Catholic monk? He has to try it. Now, of course, they're not born into it, obviously.
Right. No, it doesn't quite work that.
I actually.
Well, I guess that could be, because you can be married, lose a partner to death, and then join the priesthood.
True. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Actually, I was on a plane ride 30 years ago or something like that, and the guy next to me was in the long brown robes. Oh, he was a monk, as it turned out, and we chatted a little bit. And he was carrying a Latin Bible. Okay. That was cool. So when I wasn't bugging him, asking him stupid questions about his lifestyle, he would be reading from his Latin Bible.
Okay.
Kind of cool.
Yeah.
He also brought up they were actually building the monastery. I don't know. I think it was in Arizona or Southern California or something, and they were having issues with the union.
Huh.
Now, I'm not sure if they took outside labor to work on it. I didn't understand. I was under the impression that they were doing all the work to build this monastery, yet they had these union issues. It was. He didn't go into the explanation of it. I mean,
well,
were they trying to unionize the monks, and that was the problem? No, our union is with God.
Our union is communion.
Yes, right. There you go. That's actually got a better ring to it. No, that was kind of cool. I wish I had spent more time with the guy.
Yeah.
Of course, then there's another funny story. I knew a woman in college who was Baptist, and her parents had met her parents. The parents thought that she and I were going together, and we weren't. We were just friends. And there was a discussion that, oh yes, this Baptist person, you never want to marry a Catholic because the attitude of women and how women's rights are, particularly with if there is a health issue, the woman goes, the baby lives. Okay, it's that whole thing. I'm not trying to get into that argument, but that was stated. Okay, that was stated.
Okay, all right.
And and I didn't want to get into that issue. The ironic part is that she and I had met this fella that was kind of a pre-brother to a monastery.
Okay.
He hadn't taken his vows yet.
Right. It is a process.
She and him hit it off, and they got married. So she ended up being married to a Catholic.
Huh.
Very okie dokie. So what your mom and dad were telling you, you just threw out the door.
Well, we all got to make our choices, and there are no absolutes in life.
Sometimes, shall we say, love doesn't allow for those choices, right? You find somebody you love.
Well, it does. We just sometimes ignore that.
Well, yes, of course. Now, I have lost contact with them.
Love is a very motivating factor.
Yeah, I don't know if they're still together or not because I've lost contact with them. But
just take a little drink there. Yeah, so we got 5 minutes left to fill here.
Woohoo!
So, what else is going on? Well, I have reached the point of my vacation planning that the calendar is open to start making dining reservations for my Disney trip. So I've been doing that.
Dining reservations.
Yeah, well, some of the restaurants in Disney World are very high demand, and they open up reservations 60 days out, and some of them are so high demand that at 6 a.m. at that 60-day mark, when the
Oh, are
date
you
opens
coming
up
with
on the
a
calendar,
60-day range?
Yeah, because I'm
So
going
you're
in.
heading down there for hurricane season again.
If a hurricane is on course, I'm going to postpone and cancel.
Right.
I've already gone over this.
Yeah,
September,
yeah, that's right. I just forgot.
except for hurricanes, September is the best time of the year to go to Disney. It's kids are back in school, so
Oh, sure. No, I totally
it's
get
lower
it.
crowd. So as
Yeah.
long as you can
Yeah.
avoid a hurricane,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's kind of a crapshoot. When you're planning out like that, you can't know in advance, but you probably more
But
likely.
wouldn't say like April, late March or April be a good time because you're not into the real big and heat and humidity down in Florida, and school is still in session, so you're not
That's
fighting the schools.
that's a good. Basically, I've measured it purely on the crowds because the crowds is a real big factor.
Sure.
But if September comes around, I still have that trip protection for one of the flights, and I got a refund on that other flight. So I could recoup some of my airfare from the trip protection if a hurricane's going to hit the area. And
So you
Disney,
take that trip insurance or whatever you call it.
we've told that story before. I'm not going to repeat that, but
Well, that's just a yes or no answer.
part of my airfare has it's complicated, but yes,
Okay.
we'll leave it at that.
Okay. Keep going.
So I can recoup part of my airfare, and Disney is pretty accommodating to let you push out the date. So I could, call them up and say I want to reschedule for March or February, or generally after New Year's, the things kind of die down in the February, March, April. So that is kind of a good second choice. And that is what I'll do this time around. If September's approaching and the hurricane's hitting Disney, I'm not doing that a second time.
It's good. It's good.
It was an interesting experience to do once,
Yeah.
but I already knew that even though I was going to do it once, I wasn't going to do it again.
Well, in your plan, I think that trip insurance is worth it within the certain levels.
Right. That's right. You weren't here for that week because, what part of the problem was is I got the insurance, but I booked it through a third party site, so it was with two different airlines. But it was through the third party site. I had the trip insurance.
Yeah.
But then I needed to change one of the flights because then after I booked the vacation, I got a wedding invite for a wedding on Saturday, and I was supposed to fly back Saturday. And I couldn't rebook my flight for Friday because the penalty to rebook the flight was like more than the cost of a new flight.
Right.
And so I basically,
instead of just being a $50 nuisance fee, they suck you out. Yeah.
So basically all they did was cancel the flight and I got nothing for it. And I said, well, no, I'd rather not cancel the flight because then I have the option to get the refund if I do have to cancel it for a hurricane. So please don't cancel it. And they said, well, we already canceled it because you told us to. And I said, but you didn't tell me that the fee was more. And we argued back and forth until they just agreed to just give me a full refund for that return flight that I canceled. So I've already been refunded for the original return flight. Now, when I booked a new return flight, it was $200. It would have cost me another $40 to get the trip protection on that one. And at this point, I'm like, I'll eat the $200 if there's a hurricane. I've already gotten a refund that I didn't think I was going to get. So and I could get a refund for the other first part. This one, I'll just take the chance because 40 was a lot. The trip protection on the original one was like 20.
Yeah.
And that was round trip.
Yeah.
So anyways.
Funny story. So last week we were booked hotel, parking at the Park and Fly, airplane, et cetera, to go to Washington, D.C. on Wednesday, meet family reunion, go to the Marine the Marine drill team at the Marine Barracks, Washington, D.C., do that whole thing, fly back on Saturday. Okay. Fortunately, we canceled the whole thing. And fortunately, because Saturday is when, the shit hit the fan and United would have been a nightmare. We would be still in Washington, I think.
Right.
A month later. Anyway, so we canceled it because last minute, in fact, we had
it was canceled for sickness.
Hang on. Well, we had actually signed on with our tickets.
Okay.
Right? You booked all, not booked, but we got our seats. We had our seat assignments. We got our tickets and we were just ready to board. Right.
Right.
And we got a call from relative that one of the relatives was in the hospital. They weren't going to be coming down to Washington, which means half the people were not showing up. So why would we show up?
Right.
So we canceled ours as well, and we got every dime back. Of course, and we paid no penalty, which was amazing.
Okay.
The car, there was no penalty. The airline, we were using miles anyway, but they didn't charge us a fee. The hotels, they didn't charge us a fee. They just, cancel the whole deal. We didn't lose a dime on it, which was amazing.
Yeah.
We thought we were going to be screwed.
Now here's last thought before we wrap this up. Here's a question. I need to figure out what I got to do with more vacation time, because I have enough vacation time that I need to start using a few weeks of it up. So originally I thought, like, hey, what'd be fun? What'd be fun would be to go to the lake house that my aunt and uncle own at some point in August.
Oh, cool.
And when would be good to go to the lake house? Well, we should go the week that they have the county fair in the area and the blueberry festival. And sure enough, they had these two things around the same time. And so I talked to my sisters and my brother, and I'm like, hey, we should go to the lake house. And, it's like, yeah, but then our aunt and uncle are there. And, then we got to, I'm like, yeah, but the Hartford Fair and the Blueberry Festival. And they're like, oh, okay, we'll go. So we figure out what week that is. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to put in for that week off. And one of you talk to our aunt and we'll see. They'll probably say, yeah, sure, come on down. So I decided I have enough vacation time anyways. I'm just going to go ahead. So I put in for the week. And I have that week off, but then it turns out that my aunt and uncle, they also have it within their family. On my uncle's side, that family kind of has I think it's his dad that owns a lake house up in Maine, and they take turns using it. And so the week they have that lake house is the week of the county fair and the Blueberry Festival. So it turns out my aunt and uncle are not going to be around at their lake house that week. So there's no reason for us to go visit the house because they won't be there. In some ways, we thought that maybe that make for a more pleasant week, but I don't think that they're just going to hand us over the keys. But no, I kid. I like my aunt and uncle most of the time.
Well, the thing is, you want to hang out with them. That's the bottom line.
Right. But anyways,
I love my aunt and uncle, but I don't want to see them ever again.
Well, this is the uncle that threw my brother into the pool.
Well, that sounds like fun.
Completely clothed.
That sounds like double fun.
It was fun for all of us that were watching.
For the brother, not so much.
Well, here's the thing. So this aunt and uncle would babysit us for a long weekend when my parents would go to the Trans Am Nationals. And this aunt and uncle, they're not the child-friendly type. They didn't have kids.
They hate kids. Yeah.
Not that they hate kids, but they don't want to live with them.
Exactly. That's what hate kids means.
So you don't hate kids, Brian.
Because I don't have any? Yeah, you're right.
We
you don't hate kids because you don't have any, right?
Remember the good old days we could make jokes about, well, could you put them in a cage? And
exactly.
And that was funny. And
yes.
that's, yeah. So, so anyways, they're babysitting us. And at some point, like, and the thing is that they're not the pick your battles type. So we're like,
so everything is a battle.
Like, we're joking around at the dinner table and they're telling us to knock it off, and Greg's doing things to make people laugh, or he's burping or whatever. And they're like, knock it off. And so at some point, my uncle declared that it is to be complete and utter silence at the dinner table. No one is to say another word.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
And let me tell you, if you want to get a kid to not be silent, the best way to do that is to tell them that they must be silent. That is the best way to ensure. I mean, because then it's a game of what can we get away with.
They obviously do not, you know, have the concept, right?
You know, well, it was a cough. I had to make a sound, yeah, but it was such an obviously fake cough. You can't prove that, but
right.
You know, things like that, or then people are making faces to try to make other people crack up when they're supposed to be quiet, things like that. So it is just, yeah. It was not pleasant at this point. And so my brother was being obnoxious but I don't blame him. And so at some point the threat was made, if you don't knock it off, I'm going to throw you in the pool. And I'm not even sure how this was a threat, because we like going in the pool. And not necessarily that we wanted to go in our fully clothes, but it's not hard to change out of our clothes. But he didn't want to go in. So my uncle makes the threat again. I'm going to throw you in. And so sure enough, my uncle picks up my brother up over his shoulders, walks out we're eating at the picnic table on the porch, and the pool's outside next to the porch, goes out the door, down the deck, around the other side of the porch, up the pool ladder, and we're all there, silent, turned, looking out the window. Is he gonna do it? I think he's gonna do it. He's not gonna do it. He's gonna do it. He's gonna and we're all wondering if he's gonna do it. Now apparently there was a conversation to the effect of, are you gonna behave? Like trying to give my brother an opportunity to agree to behave and not get thrown in the pool. My brother couldn't stop laughing because this is ridiculous at this point. So my uncle felt like you can't back down from a threat like that, or they'll never take me seriously. Not that we ever did, but so into the pool he went. Clothes, shoes, socks, and all. And
wallet. That's always fun.
And so he got out and said, all right, go upstairs, get changed. You know, that was the end of it. And that's been a story in our family ever since. And now Greg was actually kind of crying a little bit when he came out, but I recall him crying a bit, although maybe I'm misremembering because I don't even think it was that bad. Maybe it was out of shock or whatever, but he changed out of his clothes. He was fine. We were all fine. But it was not always the most pleasant weekend.
Aunt and Uncle should have made him stay in the wet clothes.
They're not monsters. They're just cruel. But
and then put the kids in the cage. You know, mix the stories up.
Right? I don't know. So, anyways, it was always a frustrating weekend when they were watching us. But
that was when you were how old?
Oh, younger. I don't even. It's a blur.
12 years old?
Yeah, around there.
Yeah.
So
I suspect that they treat you differently now.
Oh yeah. Now, now we can all get drunk together. So
right.
Now we're not kids, so they don't. We're not that age range that they dislike, but not that they ever disliked us. Anyways, point is that they're not.
They weren't. They're no longer have to wonder why the hell did we get stuck with the kids.
So when I ask, so of course my siblings have decided that the option never came up to go a different week. It was basically like, oh, the week of the events that are going on. They're not happening. They're not going to be there that week. We'll have to try another year. But meanwhile, I already put in for the week off and got approved. Now I could take that back, but I actually, I have the time to burn because I can carry over time from year to year, but I can only carry over a certain amount of time. So I'm reaching the point that I have to make sure I use enough time each year so that I don't lose, that I'm under the amount that can be carried over. So I can afford to burn a week, and it's summer. I may as well, but I'm not going to spend much money because I got some expensive meals coming up in Disney, and I'm kind of tapped out from, paying that vacation, and plus I still got meals that I'm going to be paying for.
I like Dune's idea.
So,
rent a place there.
The rental places at that lake are pretty expensive.
Or how much actual land is on the property where the house is?
No, that's not.
Is there
much.
space for a tent? That's the question.
That's not an option. That's silly. Anyways,
Right.
so I guess the question is, what should I do with that week? I have a week off in August and no plans, and I don't want to just waste it loafing around the house. So I guess I need ideas what to do in August.
Well, why don't you go to Cape Cod? Have you spent some time there?
I haven't. Is it like a day trip type of thing?
Well, look into it. I would say it probably takes more than a day.
Well,
because I don't know how long that drive is. Is it 3 hours or 2 hours?
I'm not going to rent a place because, like I said, my vacation budget has gone to Disney. So,
again, tent in the back of the car. No big deal.
It shouldn't take me that long to get there. Roughly it would be a oh, no. Why would I want to go to Cape Cod from Cape Cod? Obviously, I want to go to Cape Cod from my home. Stupid.
Yes, I would pick Provincetown, so you got the whole length of it.
Okay. Provincetown, because to get to Cape Cod is an hour and 12 minutes.
And that gets you to Hyannis, which is barely there.
Okay. So to get to Provincetown would be 2 hours.
Yeah, so that's a 2-hour trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could totally be a day trip.
And of course, actually, the last hour is on the Cape. So, because what's the time to get to Hyannis?
Although I think the traffic would probably add another hour if I was going to go in but.
Well, you have to figure what the traffic flow is like.
Well, what things am I going to do there?
What do you do at the beach? What do you do at the lake house? What do you do at Disney World? What kind of stuff do you do?
Well, at the beach, I hang out with family. At the lake house, I hang out with family, and at the Disney World, I
do you go swimming?
Rides.
Do you
sometimes?
Yeah. Well, there's lots of swimming in.
But I could go swimming I could go down to Jersey to go swimming.
Well, then go to Jersey. There's an idea. Although that's longer. That's more than 2 hours, right?
Yeah, but I know that beach. I don't know. That's an idea.
Well, you get to learn a new beach. How tough is that?
All right. Well, that's an idea. It's an idea. Yeah. The only thing is I don't like the idea of day trip swimming because, like, do they have changing rooms there? Because then I'm like,
absolutely in Provincetown there is.
It's nicer.
Although we went, I spent a weekend with a friend of mine, a college roommate. We were at Provincetown, and we went into the restroom. Now you could always change in a restroom. It's not that big. You got stalls, all that kind of stuff. Not that difficult. I'm sure there are changing rooms at the beach up there. But we went into, taking turns to go in to go pee, right? So I go and I'm out, no big deal. My friend goes in and he comes storming out really quickly because he saw that other guy that was in there that had the t-shirt, boy meets boy. Suddenly he could not pee.
So
homophobic was he?
So Sparky and Dune were talking about vacation times, and Sparky talked about how sick times are use them or lose them, so he always gets sick enough days, use all sick days. My job only has 3 sick days a year, and we're getting a call from Damon.
Damon.
Hello, Damon.
Hey, Damon.
I think we lost the call.
Just like that.
Well,
Damon, we love you.
where did how do we lose that call?
Did he realize it was us? And then he goes, oh, wait. But he would have known it was us. Or maybe he was just ringing in to bug us.
Well, let's
I'll
call
ring,
him back.
We'll ring and hang up on him.
Let's see if he picks up. I think it was an error.
Mod Pro had a suggestion on vacationing.
We'll get to that.
Stop. Hey.
All right, he must have called us an error.
Butt dialed.
He must have realized, oh shit, I didn't want to do that. So, anyways, my place has 3 sick days a year that don't carry over, but they go into like long-term disability bucket if you don't use them. So I just don't use them unless I need to. Let's see. So Mod Pro suggested I should go be Dune's co-host at his house and show feet.
Oh, I love it. Although, how many days were you getting off?
I took a week off in August.
No, this coming up.
Yeah, a week off in August.
Oh, yeah, don't.
So yeah. I got August 12th to 16th off, so I could fly out. Well, if I could get cheap airfare, I could fly. You know what? Let's price a ticket to Wichita for that week.
Do you fly in and out of Boston, or?
Yeah, typically.
Yeah.
I could fly out of Providence, but usually it's more expensive to fly out of Providence and Boston. Boston's got more options, so they tend to be. All right, so let's take a look at flights leaving from Boston, going to Wichita. There we go.
Was that Wichita or Timbuktu?
Yes. And
joking.
Let's take a look how much a round trip ticket to Wichita and back is for the week of August 12th to 16th. Of course, Dune will probably be working that week, and it's like $500. So sorry, Dune. don't want to visit you that badly. But if Dune wants to come out here with his
$500 round trip,
$484.
That doesn't sound that bad, really. I expected it to be more like 1,000, but that's Southwest airline.
No, that's American.
Wow.
Actually, no, American's $567. United is $483.
Oh, right.
And has a layover in Chicago. So, yeah, no, 500's more than I want to.
What is Southwest? Did they give you that list?
No, this place doesn't give me that. So, but anyways, that is an idea. Visit Dune. Let's see. Dune suggests there's a nice place in Cali by the beach you can go to. Sparky says, go to Montana and view the sights. Wait. And Sparky says that Damon's trolling you. Let's see. I hope Dune didn't hear that. Let's see. Oh, Dune's going to be in Detroit. Oh.
So go to Detroit, yeah.
Dune's saying, Saley, I don't have your bed gun anymore. That's okay. I'm perfectly fine sleeping in a bed without a gun under it. I do that every night. I tell you, though, someone tries to break in this place, I'm going to fling my CPAP mask at them.
Exactly.
Whack.
Actually, I met a guy that slept with a case of dynamite under his bed.
Okay, that's one way to do it.
He stopped doing that when one of his coworkers got killed in a blasting accident.
Kind
of fucked him over, mentally.
Sparky asking if Johnny's bed gun was a water pistol. As I understand it, no. There was there were several firearms scattered throughout the room. I was asleep. It was a loaded Moseberg. So yeah. I didn't go looking for guns. I didn't find guns. So if anything, I think that this speaks to Dune's level of trust in me. That he would leave a loaded gun in my guest room for me to sleep with.
Sure.
So
after all, you had this PTSD issue over NHP radio, as we learned today.
Mossberg.
I was wondering when you're going to get shit for that.
Never heard of it.
Shoot. Yeah, you're really big into guns, aren't you, Johnny?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I just don't do it for me. Anyways, I think it's that time. I think it's time for us to bring up the closing theme.
Yes. Is there a new rendering of that by AI?
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. We've been using it. There's the country remix is what there is. So this draws to close yet another fun-filled edition of
insert title here.
Oh, and I got my Ulterior Motives CD in the mail today.
Yay!
Autographed. So yeah, it's official. Ulterior Motives has been released on CD. I think there's supposed to be a limited cassette edition of it, but I don't care. Maybe I'd buy a vinyl copy if they put one out at some point. But anyways, we do try to be educational here. I think we've all learned a whole bunch. So Dune, what have no, not Dune. Brian, what have you learned here this week?
That Johnny has some issues from 2010 still.
I don't have issues.
Wow.
I have feelings about 2010.
Well, feelings, issues, sometimes they're interchangeable. And good thing you don't know anything about guns, because those issues could turn wild.
Those issues would never turn. No.
Sure.
Everyone feels
That's right, because we're promoting love now.
Everyone feels anger from time to time. Only a select amount of people do that with their anger.
Right.
So, no, not at all. And what did I learn? I learned
this is a country remix?
Yeah.
I dig it. It's actually more like folk music remix.
Yes.
I like the violin.
Yeah. It's kind of nice. I have this, hip hop meets folky country.
Yeah, the fiddle meets the fiddle.
Sparky writes in, I learned Johnny keeps his feelings the same through the years, which just means he is consistent. And I learned that what did I learn?
He learned to love Damien.
I learned that every now and then, if you call Damon enough, he might accidentally call you back. He probably went back to his history to just redial the last number that called him. It was like, oh shit, not that one. Anyways, on that note, it's time to put another one to bed here. So we're going to go find someone to raid. Is what we're going to
find someone to raid.
Yeah. So let's see who's
Pork roll
right now.
Serena. Oh, that's what that meant. Just
Serena
Christmas?
is in
Canada.
Chatting. So is that a hint?
Grim. That's what it sounded like as a hint.
All right.
Because at first I didn't know what that meant. I'm like, oh, that's on the list.
Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead. We're going to raid Serena. So thank you everyone for listening. You all have a good night. We'll be back here next week. I think Mars will be back too. Get to find out how his vacation was. And we'll see you then.
Yep. We'll see you.
Good night.
All right. Have a good one. Let the raid begin.